Alright everybody, if you watched my last video, again, I'm going to mention the book 76 Cash Making Deal Saving Closes, more specifically for the F&I manager, the F&I process, and selling back-end products. So to pick up where I left off, again, the importance of having a nice not and drab office, unlike this, completely opposite of this, and doing away with the formal interview and just getting to know the customer, build rapport, get them to like you. Things that it's not too complicated. On page 60 and 61 of the book, if you do buy it, by the way, you can just go on Amazon.com and buy it. It's right there. Just look up 76 cash, the title, 76 Cash Making Deal Saving Closes by Joe Sabatini. It'll be right there. So I'm going to start off with the menu. You can see that here. All right, most of you have seen a menu. And you could see how it's set up with some different variations. Again, in the book on page 60 and 61, you'll see it. Now, I've seen, for as many different menus, I've seen a million different ways of presenting the menu. So the point is, you always go from biggest to smallest. You never go from smallest to biggest, ever, ever, ever. You always go from the most contracts to the least amount of contracts. Secondly, the words warranty, options, guarantees, whatever other nicknames you want to give these contracts, do away with them. Don't ever say warranty. These are not warranties. These are contracts. And when you go over the platinum, gold, silver, bronze, whatever your dealership has, that's great. But these are not options or anything like that. They're contracts. And when you label them as such, and the customer will be more inclined to see them as they have to pick one, which is the whole point, right? Like, you have to make it seem like they have to pick one. Now, it may say options on the menu, which is fine, but you see, people also see and hear. People can do it both ways. They can do it by seeing and hearing. And when you keep saying this contract, that contract, beat it into your head. They're not options, they're contracts. So, as you go through it, you start with the platinum, which has everything in it. Now, methodically, I hear a lot of finance managers, they just keep talking. They talk, they shoot all of their bullets, what I say. They over-explain it on the first go-around. Don't do that. As a matter of fact, you want to do the quickest Cliff Notes version that is the least, again, laid back. Again, at this point, you still want them to feel that you don't give a crap either way. You want them to see you as like an insurance guy who's like kind of like a lay down, kind of like a passive, soft guy. You want them to believe that, because then they'll be open with you in their objection, which is what you want. So at this point, you don't sell on the first menu go around. All you're doing is quickly going over it so that, in essence, you get them to ask you some questions. That's the point, is you get them to ask you some questions and you persuade them to the contract that you want them to buy. So, and when you set up the menu, the VSC is always the last one. So even on the bronze, which in my case is the final fig leaf, the final one, the vehicle service contract is always in it. So you go through, as an example, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, here are the contracts that are available to you. On the platinum contract, you have the vehicle service agreement that covers you for 7 years, 100,000 miles, bumper to bumper, zero deductible parts, labor, and diagnostics. Your second, third, and fourth is a package if you get the platinum. When you get the platinum contract, it includes your tires and wheels, pretty much everything the warranty doesn't cover, the tires and wheels, the keys, paintless dent removal, all for a period of 5 years, zero deductible, unlimited amount of occurrences on all of them. And finally is your window etching. So if you do happen to get your car stolen, you get a $2,500 bonus, reward, whatever you want to call it, and they pay your deductible. These are your payments with the platinum contract. Do you have any questions about this contract before I continue? I'll get back to that. Okay, no questions? So on the gold contract, you will forfeit your maintenance and you will forfeit your etch and you will forfeit the key care, and these are your payment options. And if you go with the silver contract, you will forfeit the key care, and these are your payment options. And lastly, on your bronze, it leaves you with your forfeit, your tire and wheel, and you just have the vehicle service contract. These are your payment options. Now, do you have any questions about any of these contracts before I ask you to choose one? Shut up, put the pen down. I wish I had a pen here, I do. Put the pen down next to the platinum contract. Shut your mouth, let them ask questions. Did you notice how quick that was? Did you notice how listen, I didn't really verse this. It's just so natural to me. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a 5-in-1 plan where your tire and wheel, your keys, your paint and fab, all that's rolled up into one, that makes it even easier. That means you only probably have like 3 contracts, maybe 4 to go over. But in this case, most people don't, so you have them separated. But you could still present them as a combination if they take the platinum or the gold contract and build the value that way. So getting back to it, you shut up, you put the pen down, and sometimes, and even me, when I'm really feeling good about it, when I'm feeling good about the people, I recommend one. Why wouldn't I? They like me, they trust me. Why wouldn't I say, you know what, most of my customers go with the platinum or gold. You know, I recommend the platinum. I think that's what's called the fixed payment. You won't have any variations in your loan. Everything would be essentially covered, other than if you had a regular insurance claim. That's very popular. About 60 to 70% of my customers take that one. And then shut up. Again, it's all just being natural. You don't have to be so structured. Again, you're not even really selling. You're just kind of chilling, you're laying back. Now, one more before we're done. Let's just say they say no. All right, most people just try to get right back into it and just try to close them. Okay, let's get right back into it. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of why you don't have all your precious little paperwork set up beforehand. Why? Because you need to buy time to cycle back into it. So, I would never pre-print. I would have my paperwork organized but not pre-printed, because this is like either the second or third piece of paper. Maybe get them started signing with some, power of attorney, some odometer statements, get them to feel loose about it. Then you break out the menu, and if they say, no, I don't want any of these, what do you think? Now, conventional wisdom tells you to keep going back at it. And sometimes if you feel it, maybe you do. But 80% of the time, this is what I do. Okay? Okay, no problem. Flip it back around, or move it to the side, watch their eyes, see if it follows you, see if they're still looking at it. And then you know that they're interested. They just don't trust you enough to say yes yet. Okay? That's essentially all they're saying. Move it to the side, make them feel like you're done. Again, keep the guard down, get them signing some other state paperwork that's just buying you time. And then we move on to the objection overcoming process, which is pretty much where you're going to close, 80% of your VSC products and to keep your profitability. That's the point. My point is to get you to sell vehicle service contracts and all your other products without having to discount right away. And you don't have to do this. If you bring the customer in early and often, they're not going to feel like they're taking so much time in here if you're just doing what you need to do. So they're not going to rush you most of the time, because they feel like they've been moving along since you brought them in here. Okay? So that's the end of this video. We're going to talk about how to get that customer who says, no, I don't want anything, to sign something. Really briefly, we're going to go back to, okay, why did I say, do you have any questions about the platinum contract before I continue? Why do you think I did that? Well, you know why? Just sometimes people go, okay, I'll take that one. In that case, you don't have to say anything else. Okay, sign here, I'll get the paperwork started. Bada bang, you got it. So always leave yourself the opportunity to find the laydown without saying another friggin' word, okay? So when you go through the platinum contract, do you have any questions about this contract before I continue? They might look right at that payment and say, no, that one looks good, I'll do that one. Great news, sign here, I'll get you out of here in no time. Bang, okay? So that is a very crucial step in selling platinum contracts. It works way more than you would believe, okay? So until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and keep selling.